Well, hello, everybody. Today I'm going to start on my series of what I call powerful states and primal states. And this all has to relate to what is happening with your nervous system for performance and for anxiety. Hi, my name is Michael Wolf Grafstein, affectionately known as Matrix Mike. I have a background as an athletic therapist, massage therapist, sport massage therapist, matrix repatterning practitioner, NLP practitioner, NLP master coach, hypnotist, and master hypnotist. So, I mean, a lot of titles and all that's kind of nice and stuff, but the bottom line here is the information that I'd like to provide for you is going to be something that is useful, something that you can take with you and implement right away, or an understanding that you can maybe look at things in a different way. So, going back to what I originally said, we have what we call two different types of states. One is powerful, and the other one is what we call primal. So let's start with the primal. What does primal actually means, so to speak? So if we think about primal, what we're thinking about is the dark ages, the cavemen, dinosaurs, all that type of stuff. And back in those days, the biggest thing was, will you survive from day to day? Cavemen, women, whatever you want to call it, had to go out and they had to find food to survive. And the challenge was, because of the environment they were set in, it was a very difficult environment. It was a terrifying environment. It was not necessarily a safe environment. So their instincts, their nervous system was all about survival. If they could survive into the next day. And over time and over evolution, a lot of that has stayed with us, being in a primal state of survival, doing whatever we need to do to make it through the day. And if we take a look at sports, for example, and we need to perform, or as an athlete, we need to perform, many times, what are you doing? You're doing what you need to do just to survive. And survive these days is not enough. It may be good for some people, that's maybe where they need to be. But for many of us, or many athletes in sports, getting it to that next level where you can shine, where you can be yourself, where you can go out, have passion and fun, that's the next level. And unfortunately, due to whatever circumstances, maybe somebody missed a shot, missed a basket, missed a flip, somebody in the process of watching that maybe said something that was negative, less than positive. You suck, you're no good. And when you start to think about it, you get in your mind, oh geez, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I can't handle this criticism. And what that does is it creates a feedback loop, a loop in which every time you want to go out and do something that is different and is better, it kind of falls down. And that's because what's happened is that primal state of survival has been ingrained, encoded, and trained in your mind, perhaps because of just one single thing that you did that was incorrect, or you had other options. And because of how you felt, because of that loop, you made a decision to do something that was not going to be beneficial to you. That is being in the primal state where we know intellectually that we need to make a better decision, but emotionally, we're not there. What is it that we can do instead? Because we're so used to having that feeling of failure, having that feeling of making a mistake, having that feeling of not being confident in what we do because maybe one time somebody said something to you after you made a mistake and that really stuck with you, and that cycle continues over and over and over again. And the key thing here is it's a pattern. It's an ingrained pattern that happens over and over and over again. And you may not notice it, be aware of it because it's out of your conscious awareness, but perhaps it is being held in place at the unconscious level. So what we need to do is we need to change that pattern of thinking, so that the next time that you go out to do whatever you need to perform, one, you're not making that mistake. Two, if you make that mistake, you can recover. And three, you can just understand that what you are doing or any mistakes that you are doing is just part of what I call a learning process. Because over time, as you start to learn what you need to do better, what you need to do to increase your abilities, to increase your skill, you start to focus on those skills instead of the mistakes. And the mistakes just become part of the process. That is so important because if you allow mistakes to become part of the process, instead of being in this primal survival, this fear type of state, you now slowly work your way, or for some people, maybe it's instantly, as an athlete, you become in a powerful state. And that can happen. See, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, this state of survival, the primal state, the state of being nervous, anxious, and self-doubt, not believing in yourself, is that useful? Is that useful? What would you want to have instead that is different? I'll repeat that again. What is it that you want to have instead that is different? So, what I'd like you to do in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to take you through a really simple process that, if you do this over and over again, will allow you to naturally be in a more powerful state, a powerful state of calm, focus, determination, confidence, high self-esteem. But it's something that you need to do repeatedly. And you can take the same process and apply it in different areas in your life. So, for example, let's say you have a big game and you're in a team sport. And the thing that keeps on nagging you is that every time you go into the corner, and we'll say it's hockey, to get the puck, you're afraid that you're going to make this mistake of losing the puck. So what I want you to do is I want you to allow your left hand, in this case, this is my left hand, and looking at you, it's probably your right hand. Anyway, allow your left hand to be in that state. And I want you to clench your fist. And I want you to go back to a time that you actually thought you made a mistake and you got nervous and everything tightened up. And as you do that, I want you to just tighten, 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 tighten that fist. Good. Now let it totally go. Let it totally go. Let me ask you this. What's your postal code backwards? Okay, never mind. Now, let's go back in time, and I want you to think of a time when you, okay, when you actually were successful. Or if you weren't successful, I want you to imagine that time when you were successful, where you went into that corner and you got that puck. I want you to think about that. And as you do, I want you to start clenching your fist. You're confident. You believe in yourself. You see yourself getting that puck. You're working hard. You can really feel it. You can really feel it. And just squeeze as hard as you can as you continue to think of that time when you were successful of getting that puck and you doing it over and over again. It's stronger, stronger, stronger. And now just let everything go. Let everything go. Excellent. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun and we're going to see what happens. I want you on a scale from 0 to 10. Ask yourself, when you think about that time or the times when you actually weren't successful in getting the puck, from a score of 0 to 10, 0 being not feeling like you were good and 10 feeling the worst you were, what number was it? And I want you to remember that number. So, what you're going to do now is I want you to go back to the time or the times, and I want you to clench that left fist, remembering all that negative stuff. Now, I want you to clench your right fist and imagine all the positive things, negative things, positive things, all together. That's right, all together. Now, let go of that left hand and keep on holding that positive side, the right hand, and now let that one go and relax. Totally relax. What's your phone number backwards? Never mind. That's okay. Doesn't matter. What's your favorite color of popcorn? That doesn't matter either. Anyways, so what I want you to do now is I want you to think about that time when you went into the corner and you weren't successful. How do you feel? Was there a change? Notice how you feel differently. And now ask yourself on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 feeling totally fine, 10 being really bad, how do you feel? Notice how that score has changed. And this is something you can do, and you can repeat it over and over and over again until you get that feeling that you're a 0 out of 10. Not only that, you can take these same actions and apply it to skating, improving your skating, seeing yourself really better. You're doing amazing. You're amazing. Maybe you had fallen a few times, but you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. You've fallen, but you're amazing. And you're amazing. Just doing something as simple as that will help to change what's happening without you actually realizing it, so that the next time that you get out to perform, you are going to go into those corners. And regardless what happens, you're going to put the effort in because your focus is changed. Whatever you were feeling before is pretty much past you, and you're feeling a little bit more on that successful side. And when you're in that successful side, that's where the confidence comes from. You're now in a more powerful state. And when you're in a powerful state, you're calm, you're focused, you know the task that you need to do to get the job done. Because before, and this is important, you did not have the resources that you needed. You were doing the best you could with the resources that you had at that time. Now that you've got this little technique, this should help you be better the next time you're out. Now, this time I used hockey. You can do the same thing for shooting a basket, doing a layup. You can do the same thing if you're a gymnast. Or same thing, if you're a soccer player, a play that maybe you mess up from time to time, now you have an opportunity to change that into something that is more positive and powerful, and at least remove the fear, remove the anxiousness. So you have changed and it's more neutral. And then if you choose to, you can add in what's more powerful is seeing yourself being successful and allow that to come in just by squeezing that right hand. Matrix Mike helping you change your game, your performance with a little bit of body awareness, hypnosis, whatever you want to call it. Because you don't always have to be like that to do to be hypnosis and go into trance or whatever else you want to call it. Again, I'm Michael Wolf Grafstein. I want to thank you for your time. Please feel free to ask questions and make comments. I do my best to answer whatever is down below. And enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. Bye again.